Hey everyone, how you doing? Happy Mother's Day to you all. It's Stephen Spry again, and today I'm on the third leg of my 3-day trip down to visit my son in Canberra. Beautiful sunny Canberra, apparently not. Nice and cold. What's interesting is that I haven't been here since about 1978, I think. So it'll be quite interesting to see the changes. But look, I've got a bit of a Mother's Day message to pass on. So what I think I might do is find somewhere I can pull over and have a chat with you about that, eh? Because it's a bit hard to do it on this bit of road. So don't go away. I'll be right back. Right, that's a bit better. A bit quieter too, hey? So look, today I'm wishing all the mums around the world a very, very happy Mother's Day. And, you know, my heartfelt thanks go out to the vast majority of you for being great mums and great parents. And like it's been here, the weather's been great. So I hope wherever you are, the weather's been really terrific and that you're out and about and enjoying a family picnic or some other activity to celebrate this family day. And for those of us who were or are single dads and raising children by ourselves, well, happy Other's Day to you guys too. Believe me, I do know how hard it is to be a single parent, having raised my own son from 5 years old, and he's 27 now. It's, certainly the job's a whole lot easier when there's two parents to share the responsibility, but unfortunately, well, that's not possible all the time, and unfortunately, the job still needs to be done. And even when there are two parents, some things are easy to overlook, and that's what this video is about today, because I remember my mother, she used to jokingly say to all of her 5 boys, and remember I'm the baby, Mum used to jokingly say, he was all right when he left home. Okay? Usually she'd say it after one of us as an adult did something so absolutely stupid that she just facepalm moment, I suppose, is how you describe it these days, but she'd simply hold up her hands and say, I don't know, he was all right when he left home. Not my fault that he did this stupid thing. So my question today is, you ready for it? Are your kids going to be okay when they leave home? Something to think about, perhaps. So, are you doing your absolute best, whether you're a single parent or a pair of parents or a foster parent or whatever type of parent you are you doing your absolute best to ensure your kids become capable adults when they eventually leave the nest? Or is whatever you're doing going to plague them for the rest of their adult lives, because it's a very, very important job? A couple of questions to illustrate. What sort of role model are you, maybe? Think about the language you use around the kids, especially the younger ones. What about the bad habits that you might indulge in around the kids? Let's basic ones: smoking, drinking. Not so good ones: drug use. What sort of effect are those habits going to have on your kids as they grow up? What about your partner if you do have one? How do you communicate with the other half in the relationship? You know, I can never, ever remember my mum and dad arguing. I mean, I would guess they did, because any decent relationship will have, even good ones will have moments where they have to argue. But if they did argue, they argued where the kids didn't hear it. So is your discussion with your partner quiet and respectful, or does it turn into a full-blown... No, I didn't mean to do that as in fist fight, but I mean, you can be just as nasty with words, can't you? Seriously. It's I've heard some doozies from neighbours at times, let me assure you. And I pity their poor damn kids having to listen to that and having to grow up with it. But speaking of relationships, as a single parent, you know, I found it hard because I didn't get much adult company. It's a bit difficult speaking in mind and language of a 5 or 6 or 7 year old all the time. So it's good when you've got other adults around you, particularly of the opposite sex, if that's the way you're inclined. So, but, how does that adult company affect your kids? And you've got to think about this, because particularly at different ages, your kids can respond way differently to that little problem. Speaking of, you probably might get into a bit of a fight with them. So how do you discipline your kids? How have you done that from when they were little? Is your regime that of the terrorist or a wimp? Is what you do consistent, or do the rules change all the time and the kids never know where they stand? And perhaps, well, maybe you gave up on rules years ago because, you know, it's all too hard. Yeah, I feel for you. Well, if that's the case, maybe all of this should have been started properly when they were a lot younger. You know, with simple and boring, I know, boring, routine things that need to be done. Like, you know, I always insisted on teeth and toilet before bedtime at whatever time bedtime was, and that was fixed, right? Every night before bed. And I just said teeth and toilet, that's all I had to do, and my son would go off, do his teeth, go to the toilet, go to bed. It's like magic. You know, waving a Harry Potter wand and teeth and toilet, son, happens. It's amazing. Something to think about. What about hugs? Did you ever get hugs? Did you ever give hugs? Did you ever say, I love you? Did you ever get told that I love you? Enough about that. How about teaching the kids skills to become independent adults when they leave, so that they can actually look after themselves? Now, this is something that you can start at around about age 2-ish, or whenever they start playing with toys and they've got them scattered all over the floor, all right? Scatter the toys everywhere. The question is, who cleans up their mess? So that's my question. Do you clean it up because, you know, you're the parent and it's your job? Or do you get them to help you clean up? Do you get them into a routine of cleaning up after play? Or do you think it's just easier, quicker? Obviously quicker and easier for you to do it yourself. But is that necessarily good for them? Because let me assure you, if they can learn to clean up the toys at 2 or 3, then, their room should be a breeze when they're a teenager. You'd hope. But it's like any other habit. If they start learning it early enough, then by the time they become a teen, well, it's pretty much ingrained in them, in what they do. But and speaking of play, do you actually play with your kids? Of any age. Doesn't matter. I mean, some people only play with their kids when they're toddlers and don't play with them when they're older. But, of any age, it doesn't really matter. Do you play with them? Do you read with them? Or perhaps you're too busy checking the phone? Catching up on social media, perhaps? Or even doing real work that you might bring home. Yep, they notice these things. Now, dinner time. Dinner time's a favourite of mine. What about dinner time? Well, do you eat meals at the table? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. Do you actually eat meals at the table? Or are you just wandering off, sitting in front of the television set with the meals on your lap? Good thing about the table, gets everybody together, because the other method, well, you've probably got 3 or 4 TVs in the house, so everybody goes off to different rooms to eat their food and then come back and just throw the plates, if you're lucky, bring the plates back and put them in the kitchen, and that's the end of it. And then guess what happens? You, as the parent, wash up. Isn't that the way it works at your place? Is it? Well, let me suggest, A, you eat dinner at the table. B, the kids can help prepare the dinner. C, they can help set the table. D, we up to D? I hope so, because once you finish dinner, the kids can help clear away everything. E, washing up. You've got kids. Why the hell not? What are you doing by doing it for them? I'm sorry, okay, now 5-year-olds possibly not. Yeah, well, they can put away. They will put things away. I wouldn't necessarily trust them with a tea towel and some crockery because it could end up all over the floor, but they could put it away in the right cupboard, and they'll learn why you've got things arranged the way you do in different cupboards. They could do the cutlery, put it away in the drawer. Great sorting game, good for manual dexterity skills and thinking and coordination. And what about the older ones? Oh, they might even be able to help you cook or prepare the vegetables or whatever. They could certainly help you wash up, but I mean, they could help you cook. Now, when I left home, I didn't know how to cook. It's taken a very long time for me to learn how to do something other than, boil water. So I wasn't all right when I left home, Mum, sorry. Not on that score anyway. I was on quite a few others, but I think I could have had a bit more practice with that one. Okay, so you might be at work. When you come home, when you arrive home, how do you greet everyone when you get into the house? Is the first thing that you whinge about, "The blasted dishes haven't been done yet. What have you been doing all day?" As your older kids, they've been home for 3 hours after school and have probably just been sitting on a computer. And the first thing they hear out of your mouth is screech, 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 whinge, 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 not directed at anybody in particular except to complain about the dishes not being done. Well, if that's what happens, guess what? It's your fault. It's your fault that you didn't teach them that habit when they were a lot younger. What you taught them was that the parent, lucky them, would do it. So the kids didn't have to worry about it. And, there are plenty of other examples I could use. There's homework. There's laundry. Garbage. Taking the garbage out. Dead easy for even a 6, 7, 8-year-old to do. There's lots and lots and lots of other routine chores and behaviours around the house that it's your job to teach them how to do and not to do everything for them. There's absolutely no point in being a martyr. So how many of these things, this is the question, how many of these things are you encouraging and teaching your kids to do? How many of these things are the kids actually helping with? Or are you being that martyr? If you don't know what martyr is, M-A-T-Y-R, go Google it. But are you being a martyr and suffering away silently inside, doing literally everything around the house because that's your job as a parent? Seriously? Well, guess what? Apart from feeding them and keeping them safe, your main job is to teach them how to be responsible and independent adults, so that when they do leave home, you can say the same thing as my mother used to say. He was all right when he left home. Thanks, guys. I'm Stephen Spry. See you next time. Like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Stay safe. Ciao.